Because I work in Hollywood. See, that's why I don't like doing these podcasts. I'm out of here.
Moving on to Mike Epps' divorce. We actually told you broke the story that Mike was filing for divorce.
Apparently we broke it to his wife.
It's hard because every situation is different because you think you're in a relationship and you're being loyal to that person and you think loyalty will always win, but you know,
people are people.
People are people, and sometimes fame gets to their head, you know?
We had no clue what Mike Epps was really hiding until now. Behind all the laughs, flashy rolls, and red carpet smiles was a mess brewing in the shadows. Late night brawls in clubs. Yup, that happened.
Because these little young dudes, man, they need some help. That's what they need. Yeah. Because these little kids are disrespectful nowadays.
Cameramen dragging him to court. That too. And the stories don't stop there. Folks have accused him of putting hands on a woman at a party. Wild, right? Then came that chaotic divorce, packed with claims of him stepping out and messing with her head emotionally. Meanwhile, whispers online started pointing to even darker rumors, never confirmed but definitely not forgotten. And here's the part that really got people talking, his longtime friendship with R. Kelly. That connection alone had folks giving Mike some serious side-eye. For the longest time, Mike stayed shining in the comedy world, making people laugh like nothing was wrong. But behind the curtain, trouble was building, and now it's spilling all the way out. Mike Epps, the same guy cracking jokes on stage, has been juggling way more drama than most ever realized. One wild night at a club, things went way left for Mike Epps. Witnesses say he got into a heated argument with a woman, and it didn't just stay verbal. People at the scene claimed it got physical, with pushing, maybe even hitting. Cops were called, and next thing you know, Epps was in cuffs and headed straight to jail. But it didn't take long. He bailed out and walked free soon after. Epps was quick to speak up, saying he did nothing wrong. According to him, the whole thing was blown out of proportion. He claimed people exaggerated what went down and promised the truth would clear his name, but the drama wasn't done yet. Not even close. Just a short time later, Epps ended up back in the headlines. This time, it went down at a party for the movie A Haunted House 2. A woman named Simone Shepherd came forward and said Epps punched her in the face. She said it all started from an argument she had with Epps' wife. After the back and forth, Simone claimed Epps stepped in and threw a punch that left her jaw swollen. She even dropped photos of her injuries, and they looked serious. Once those pics hit the internet, people started buzzing. Did Mike Epps really do that? But Mike Epps had his own version of the story, and it was totally different. He claimed he never laid a finger on Simone Shepherd. According to him, she was just an overly excited fan who got a little too close for comfort. And guess what? Some folks at the party backed him up. They said Simone was following him around, getting all up in his space, and when Epps asked her nicely to step back, she didn't take it well. Things went left real fast. Witnesses said Simone even started tossing drinks during the chaos. It was a scene. Once she reported it, the cops showed up. But here's the twist. They said they didn't see any visible injuries on her at the time. No bruises, no cuts, nothing they could confirm on the spot. Because of that, Mike wasn't arrested or charged with anything. Still, the drama didn't stop there. Epps had to face a city attorney hearing, which is basically a serious warning, like a legal wake-up call. It's not a charge or a conviction, but it's the system telling you, watch your step. But here's the real curveball. Simone was also called in for one of those same hearings. Even though she claimed to be the one who got hit, the city wanted to have a word with her too. That move had everybody side-eyeing the whole situation. This something clearly wasn't adding up. These city hearings are meant to school people on the law and remind them how to handle themselves in public. But for Mike Epps, the trouble didn't stop there. Back in December 2010, things got real ugly at a Detroit nightclub. Mike was out celebrating his wife's birthday, just trying to have a good time. But a photographer named Douglas Thornton showed up with a camera. And that's when everything started to spiral. Epps said he repeatedly asked the guy to stop recording, but the man kept rolling like it was a red carpet event. According to Epps, this was a private night, not a paparazzi free-for-all. He said after asking nicely several times, he finally lost his patience. He tried to grab the camera or the tape from Thornton, and in the heat of the moment, he admitted to punching him. But Thornton painted a way darker picture. He didn't just claim Epps threw a punch. He said Mike and his whole crew jumped him. Thornton said they beat him down, chased him out of the club, and even started shooting at him while he was running for his life. That's what he told the court when he filed the lawsuit. He said, "I was just doing my job, filming a public figure at a public event, and they came at me like I was the enemy." Thornton claimed he was lucky to make it out alive, and the lawsuit made headlines fast. Thornton didn't just walk away with bruises. He walked straight into court asking for millions. He claimed the pain, fear, and danger he went through that night in Detroit deserved serious compensation. He told the police he was hired to film the birthday event and believed he had every right to record, especially since it was held at a public venue. The cops filed a report and the whole thing blew up in the media. People started questioning if Mike Epps and his crew went way too far. And then Thornton's lawyer dropped a bomb. He said Mike was lucky he didn't get hit with an attempted murder charge, especially with gunshots in the mix. That comment had folks shook. As for Mike, he stayed silent. No comments to the press, no statements, nothing. The case rolled into court while the public watched closely. But then something crazy went down. Mike was on stage in Texas doing what he does best, cracking jokes and hyping up the crowd, when a woman casually walked up to him mid-performance. But she wasn't just any fan. She was a process server, there to hand him legal papers in front of everyone. The papers were tied to that same Detroit nightclub lawsuit. And let's just say Mike did not take it well. Right there on stage in the middle of his set, everything flipped. Mike snapped right there on stage. As soon as he realized what was happening, he turned to the woman and went off, shouting all kinds of insults in front of the whole audience. He used harsh, disrespectful language, even calling her a white bee and saying something so offensive, people in the crowd were straight up stunned. And of course, in this day and age, phones were out and recording in seconds. The moment went viral fast, but instead of brushing it off or playing it cool, Mike doubled down. He told the crowd, "This is from when I whooped that guy's ass in Detroit." He wasn't backing down. If anything, he made it sound like he was proud of it. As the woman tried to leave the stage, Mike kept yelling at her. He didn't let up, not even for a second. And the wildest part, she was just doing her job, handing over legal papers, nothing personal. But Mike didn't see it that way. That comedy night took a sharp left turn from laughter to straight up chaos. The audience looked uncomfortable and the vibe got tense. After everything, people started wondering, does Mike Epps have a serious anger problem? To some fans, all these public blow-ups started painting a different picture of the man they used to laugh with. Some still defended him, saying he was just tired of being pushed around. But others, they saw a pattern and it wasn't looking good. One thing was clear, Mike Epps couldn't escape the drama. The headlines kept rolling in, and his name stayed hot in the press, but for all the wrong reasons. Now people are starting to wonder, can Mike finally chill out and focus on his career, or is there more chaos waiting right around the corner? Then came another chapter in his personal life that had folks talking loud. Mike was once married to Michelle McCain. They got hitched back in 2006 and stayed together for over a decade. But things exploded in 2017 with a divorce that played out like a soap opera. Michelle didn't sugarcoat anything. She accused Mike of cheating throughout their marriage and claimed he was emotionally abusive. The drama got even messier when online rumors took it to another level. People started saying Mike wasn't just emotionally abusive, but that he was controlling in terrifying ways. None of those extra rumors were confirmed, but once that talk hit the internet, it spread fast. Suddenly, fans weren't just looking at Mike as a comedian. They were looking at him sideways, wondering what really went down behind the scenes. Then things got even darker, at least online. A few websites and internet users started throwing out serious accusations, hinting there might have been physical abuse or even worse during the marriage. But let's be real. No solid proof ever came out to back those claims. Still, that didn't stop the rumors from spreading like wildfire. And once that kind of talk hits the internet, it changes how people see someone fast. The divorce drama didn't just stop at emotional accusations. It got real messy when it came to money. Michelle came forward saying that Mike tried to strong-arm her into settling for less cash. She claimed he cut off access to their shared bank accounts and credit cards to pressure her. According to Michelle, everything was fine financially. Bills were being paid like usual until she refused to settle. Then she said Mike switched it up and started blocking her from the money so she'd feel the heat and take the deal. She even told BET, Mike is trying to force me to settle by cutting off my support. She also said he didn't want her to keep fighting for what she felt she deserved. Eventually, in July 2017, the case was settled and the two went their separate ways. But even after all the chaos, one thing stood out. Mike has stayed involved in his kids' lives. Whatever went down between the adults, he's still showing up as a dad and takes that role seriously. Mike Epps didn't grow up with a silver spoon, far from it. He was raised by a single mom who worked hard just to keep things together, but money was tight and life wasn't easy. They often went without the basics, and that kind of struggle leaves a mark. School wasn't much better for Mike. He found it boring and hard to connect with, so he eventually dropped out as a teen. That's when he started hustling, selling drugs to survive and make some quick money. In his book, Unsuccessful Thug, Mike even joked that the streets taught him more math than school ever did. He wrote, "A quarter ounce? You could flip that and make a half ounce? I guess I could do math after all." But that lifestyle came with serious consequences. Mike ended up behind bars multiple times. He didn't hide it either. He shared that one of the prisons he was locked up in, Westville Correctional Facility, used to be an insane asylum. He swore it was haunted, said he saw strange things and sometimes felt straight up terrified. Even though part of him wanted to turn things around, the streets kept pulling him back in. Mike admitted there were a few years where he was constantly in and out of jail. That cycle became a part of his story, and it wasn't easy to break free from it. Eventually, Mike caught a break, and it changed everything. Comedy became his escape route from that street life. Making people laugh gave him purpose, a stage, and finally, a second chance. With each joke, each performance, he started flipping his whole image. The same guy who used to run the streets was now showing up in movies, cracking up audiences, and becoming a household name. People fell in love with his raw, unfiltered humor and his wild personality, and that helped him push his criminal past further into the background. For a while, it looked like Mike had fully turned things around, but then more drama hit the scene. A random post on Reddit stirred the pot again. Someone claimed they spotted Mike getting real close with a woman who definitely wasn't his wife, right out in the open at a New York City bowling alley. That same post said it happened just before Mike got into trouble at the airport for carrying a gun. That's when internet theories started flying. Some folks online guessed the two events were connected. Maybe things got intense during that secret meetup, and Mike brought the gun as protection. No one could prove it, but that didn't stop the internet from running with it. Then came the darkest rumor of all. Anonymous users started dropping claims that Mike had once been accused of rape and supposedly paid off a settlement to keep things quiet. Nothing has ever been proven, and there's no official case on record, but the whispers, they haven't stopped. The online whispers only got heavier. Some of the claims said Mike agreed to a settlement that included an apology, one where he supposedly admitted the woman didn't consent to what happened. But here's the thing, no dates, no names, no court filings, nothing official. These stories float around the internet like shadows. Creepy, mysterious, and totally unconfirmed. Nobody knows if it's real or just another twisted rumor, but even without solid proof, talk like that can seriously damage a reputation. Whether it's fact or fiction, the stain from a rumor like that can stick for years. Mike Epps has had a roller coaster of a life. From growing up broke and battling the streets, to blowing up in the comedy world, and then getting dragged right back into drama with relationship chaos and public controversies. Some stories might have truth in them, others could be flat out fake or blown way out of proportion. But one thing's for sure, Mike's personal life stays stirring the pot. Most recently, Mike hopped on the All the Smoke podcast, and what came out of his mouth? It lit people up. Something he said hit the wrong nerve, and the backlash came in fast. So what exactly did Mike say that had everybody fired up? During his appearance on the All the Smoke podcast, Mike opened up about some deep personal stuff, but the way he said it, it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. What was meant to sound heartfelt ended up coming off like a backhanded jab at his wife, Kira. Mike got emotional talking about how he used to cry and ask God why he never had a son. Then he took it further, saying maybe it was karma for lying to women in the past, getting them pregnant, and making promises he never kept. That confession hit hard, but not everyone was feeling it. He also said that before he dies, he wants to finally learn how to treat a woman right. Sounds like he was trying to show growth, right? But social media wasn't having it. People weren't clapping. They were calling him out. A lot of folks felt like he spent too much time talking about past relationships and the women he wronged instead of focusing on the wife he has now. Instead of uplifting Kira, the whole thing came off like he was still stuck in regret mode over his past mess-ups. Some said he was blaming his lack of a son on how badly he treated women before, like he brought the curse on himself. That hit home for a few listeners, but many others felt he should have kept those thoughts private and definitely not aired them on a public podcast. It left people wondering how Kira felt sitting at home, hearing all that play out in front of the world. Mike also tried to set the record straight. He talked about wanting to grow and evolve as a man. He said now that he's getting older, he's starting to truly understand how important it is to treat women with love and respect. He mentioned he wants to do better, not just for his wife, but for his mom and his daughters too. He admitted that in the past he struggled with how he treated women, but now he's trying to step up and be a better man. Sounds like a good moment, right? A grown man owning his mistakes and working on himself. But once again, it didn't land the way he hoped. The way he said it on the podcast, it stirred up more backlash than healing. The internet lit up with criticism and people weren't letting it slide. After all the noise online, Mike finally realized he might have messed up. He took to social media to drop an apology. In his post, he told his wife straight up that he was sorry for how he spoke during the interview. He also said he often feels misunderstood when he talks in public, especially during interviews. And then he dropped a surprise. He said he's done doing podcasts and interviews altogether. He claimed he didn't want to keep getting twisted or taken out of context. The post was emotional, raw, and full of regret. And this time, fans could tell he really meant it. Mike didn't just leave it at an apology. He doubled down and followed up with another post, this time showing real love to his wife. He shared a glowing photo of Kira and dropped some heartfelt words about how much he respects and cherishes her. It looked like his way of trying to patch things up after the damage from the podcast. And for many fans, it came off as sweet and sincere, like he was really trying to make things right. Now, Mike says he's done with public interviews and wants to keep his private life low-key. He's tired of being misunderstood and would rather focus on himself and his marriage without the cameras in his face. No more open mics, just real growth behind the scenes. His wife, Kira, is no lightweight either. She's a successful TV producer, and Mike clearly knows he's lucky to have her. Some fans stood by him through the drama saying, everybody slips up sometimes. One fan even joked, just let him sleep on the couch, Kira. Don't throw him out. Another said they still love Mike because he's real and funny, even when he sticks his foot in his mouth. But just when things seem to be cooling down, it's time to dive into a connection that has raised even more eyebrows. Mike Epps and his longtime link to R. Kelly. Mike Epps and R. Kelly go way back, like years deep history. They've known each other for a long time, and that bond didn't just come out of nowhere. Both came up from the Midwest. Mike's from Indianapolis and R. Kelly's from Chicago. Those cities might be a few hours apart, but the culture, the struggle, and the hustle nearly identical. They both grew up in neighborhoods where music, survival, and street smarts went hand in hand. That shared upbringing created a connection that felt deeper than just industry ties. It was like they were cut from the same cloth. To folks who knew them, it was almost like they were family from the block. Mike always had love for his hometown. He stayed tapped into community events, repped Indianapolis hard, and made sure people knew where he came from. Meanwhile, R. Kelly was blowing up in the music game, repping Chicago with just as much pride. That shared background made it easy for them to click early on. Over the years, they stayed tight, and while a lot of folks never saw it out in the open, people close to them say Mike and R. Kelly worked together often behind the scenes. Mike had the jokes and screen presence, R. Kelly had the music. When they linked up, they'd blend their skills, brainstorm ideas, and feed off each other's energy like two hometown kings building behind closed doors. People who knew them behind the scenes said the bond between Mike Epps and R. Kelly was solid, like two longtime friends who could vibe, create, and build off each other's energy. They had a natural chemistry, always laughing, bouncing off ideas, and backing each other's projects. Most of it happened behind closed doors, but insiders say their connection was very real. But now that same friendship is raising a lot of eyebrows. With R. Kelly found guilty of horrific crimes involving underage girls, people are starting to question anyone who stayed close to him, especially big names like Mike Epps. A lot of folks believe that anyone tied to R. Kelly should have spoken out, distanced themselves, or made it clear they don't condone any of his actions. But Mike, he stayed silent. No public statements, no distancing, nothing. That silence is making some people uneasy. Over the years, Mike and R. Kelly were seen together at all kinds of events, concerts, shows, interviews. And it wasn't just some Hollywood-style we bumped into each other moment. They looked like genuine friends, smiling, talking, laughing, showing real love in public. At times, they were even cheering each other on during performances or appearances. That kind of bond doesn't look staged. And now, with everything that's come out about Kelly, fans are left wondering, how deep does that friendship go? And more importantly, why hasn't Mike said anything? Even if the public doesn't know all the behind-the-scenes details, one thing's clear. Mike Epps and R. Kelly had a tight bond that you could see whenever they were out together. In the entertainment world, real friendships are rare. A lot of folks fake connections just to climb higher, but with Mike and R. Kelly, their vibe always felt more personal than business. They've both opened up before about helping each other through tough times. They understood the grind of the entertainment game, how it's packed with pressure, fake smiles, and people who only care about cash. But Mike and R. Kelly, they came off like two dudes who actually had each other's backs when it counted. Their friendship looked like it was built on loyalty and mutual respect, not clout chasing. That kind of trust is hard to find in a world full of flashing lights, fast fame, and fake friends. And even though they were seen together often at concerts, shows, and industry events, they always kept things low-key. You didn't catch Mike posting about it or name-dropping R. Kelly in interviews. That doesn't mean they were hiding anything. It just means their bond was private, off the grid, but real. And that's exactly why so many people are uncomfortable now. Because when the spotlight turned ugly on R. Kelly, Mike's silence spoke volumes. It doesn't mean they're hiding anything. It just means they never felt the need to prove their friendship to the world. People close to both Mike and R. Kelly say their connection runs deep. They've stayed loyal to each other over the years, choosing to keep things private behind closed doors. Not every friendship needs to be loud to be real, and in their case, the bond might have been quiet, but it was strong. That kind of loyalty is rare, especially in showbiz, where people switch up their friends as fast as their outfits. But public opinion, it's no joke. It plays a huge part in how the world views celebrities, and Mike Epps isn't immune to that pressure. Some folks feel like Mike should have cut ties with R. Kelly after everything came out. They believe sticking close to someone convicted of such terrible crimes sends the wrong message. Others argue that friendships are personal, and the public shouldn't be judging what they don't fully understand. But in today's world, even being associated with the wrong person can damage your image fast. Mike may just be standing by someone he once trusted, but in the eyes of many, that kind of loyalty can look like support, or worse, approval. And that's where things get tricky, because sometimes what feels right behind the scenes can turn into a PR nightmare out in the spotlight.